Welcome to this comprehensive audio guide about St. Peter's Basilica, the spiritual heart of Catholicism and one of humanity's most extraordinary architectural works. You are standing before the world's largest church, a building that has been constructed, decorated, and embellished by history's greatest artists and architects for more than 1,000 years. This experience will take you to discover not only the visible details of this basilica, but also the historical, architectural, artistic, and spiritual secrets that make this place one of the world's most sacred and important sites. St. Peter's Basilica stands on the site where, according to Christian tradition, the Apostle Peter, the first pope, and one of Jesus' closest disciples, was buried. This place's history dates back to the 1st century AD, when Peter was martyred in Rome during Emperor Nero's persecutions. According to tradition, Peter was crucified upside down in Nero's Circus, which was located near where the basilica stands today. His body was buried in a nearby necropolis, and that place became a pilgrimage site for early Christians. The first St. Peter's Basilica was built by Emperor Constantine the Great in the 4th century, after Christianity was legalized in the Roman Empire. This Constantinian basilica was an enormous structure for its time, with 5 naves, an atrium, and numerous chapels. For more than 1,000 years, this basilica was the center of Western Christianity, the place where emperors were crowned, where the most important councils were held, and where millions of pilgrims came to venerate St. Peter's tombs. However, after more than 1,000 years, the Constantinian basilica was in poor condition. In the early 16th century, Pope Julius II decided to demolish the old basilica and build a new, larger, and more grandiose one. This was a colossal project that involved some of history's most famous architects and artists: Bramante, Raphael, Michelangelo, Bernini, and many others. The construction of the new basilica took more than 120 years, from 1506 to 1626, and required the efforts of 20 different popes. The initial design of the new basilica was commissioned to Donato Bramante, who proposed a Greek cross plan with an enormous central dome. Bramante died before much of the work was completed, and his design was modified by several successive architects. Raphael, the great Renaissance painter, also worked as an architect on the project, but his contribution was interrupted by his premature death. It was Michelangelo who finally took control of the project, and who designed the dome that is today the basilica's most recognizable symbol. St. Peter's Dome is a masterpiece of engineering and architecture. With a height of 136.57 meters from the ground to the cross at the top, and a diameter of 42 meters, it is one of the world's largest domes. Michelangelo was inspired by the Pantheon's dome and Brunelleschi's Florence Cathedral dome, but created something completely new and unique. The dome is built with a double layer, an inner decorative dome and an outer structural dome, with a space between them that allows access for maintenance. St. Peter's Basilica interior is overwhelming in its scale and richness. The central nave is 211.5 meters long, and the nave height is 46 meters. The interior space can accommodate more than 60,000 people. Every surface is decorated with colored marbles, mosaics, sculptures, and paintings. The amount of art and decoration is such that it would take days to fully appreciate all the details. The baldachin of St. Peter, designed by Gian Lorenzo Bernini, is one of the interior's most impressive works. This enormous bronze canopy, 29 meters high, stands directly over the main altar and St. Peter's tomb. The baldachin is supported by 4 twisted Solomonic columns, decorated with vine leaves and bees, symbols of the Barberini family of Pope Urban VIII, who commissioned the work. The bronze used for the baldachin came from the Pantheon, which caused controversy at the time. Michelangelo's Pietà is one of the world's most famous sculptures, and is located in the first chapel to the right of the entrance. This masterpiece, sculpted when Michelangelo was only 24 years old, represents the Virgin Mary holding Jesus's body after the crucifixion. The sculpture is notable for its realism, emotional expression, and the Virgin's youth, which Michelangelo explained by saying that purity preserves youth. The Pietà is the only work that Michelangelo signed. The Chair of St. Peter, also designed by Bernini, is another interior masterpiece. This monumental structure contains what is believed to be the wooden chair that St. Peter used. The chair is enclosed in a gilded bronze structure, decorated with reliefs and figures. 4 large figures of the Church Fathers support the chair, while angels and clouds surround it, creating a theatrical and dramatic effect typical of the Baroque. The basilica's floor is made of colored marbles arranged in complex geometric patterns. Many of these marbles come from ancient quarries that no longer exist, making the floor practically irreplaceable. The floor design includes medallions with the names and dates of popes buried in the basilica, creating a historical map of the papacy. The basilica's side chapels contain some of the world's most important artworks. The Chapel of the Blessed Sacrament, designed by Bernini, contains the world's largest tabernacle. A chapel of the Presentation contains the funerary monument of Pope John XXIII. Each chapel is a complete work of art in itself, with decorations ranging from Byzantine mosaics to Baroque sculptures. St. Peter's Basilica facade was designed by Carlo Maderno in the early 17th century. The facade is 114.69 meters wide and 45.55 meters high, and is decorated with columns, statues, and reliefs. The statues at the top represent Christ, John the Baptist, and 11 of the 12 apostles. The facade is designed to create an impression of grandeur and power, reflecting the Catholic Church's importance. St. Peter's Square, designed by Bernini, is one of the world's most famous squares. The square is elliptical in shape and is surrounded by a colonnade of 284 Doric columns arranged in 4 rows. Above the columns are 140 statues of saints. The square is designed to create an embracing effect, symbolizing how the Church welcomes all the faithful. In the center of the square is a 25-meter-high Egyptian obelisk, brought to Rome in the 1st century. St. Peter's Basilica also contains the tombs of numerous popes, including some of history's most important. The papal crypt, located beneath the basilica, contains the tombs of many popes, including St. Peter's own. The papal tombs are works of art in themselves, designed by each era's best sculptors. The construction of St. Peter's Basilica was partly financed by the sale of indulgences, a practice that was one of the causes of the Protestant Reformation. Martin Luther specifically criticized the use of indulgence money to build the basilica, leading to a division in the Christian Church that continues to this day. This historical connection adds another layer of meaning to the basilica. St. Peter's Basilica also has importance in architectural history. Its design influenced numerous churches and cathedrals built afterward, establishing standards for Baroque religious architecture. The combination of classical and Baroque elements, the integration of architecture, sculpture, and painting, and the dramatic use of space and light, all these elements became models for later architects. St. Peter's Basilica acoustics are exceptional. The wide space and the height of the vaults create a unique reverberation that makes music and voices resonate impressively. During masses and important ceremonies, the sound of the organ and choir fills the entire space, creating an auditory experience that is an integral part of the spiritual experience. St. Peter's Basilica is also an incomparable art museum. It contains works by Michelangelo, Bernini, Raphael, Caravaggio, and many other masters. However, many of the paintings you see are actually mosaics. Over the centuries, many paintings were replaced by mosaics to preserve them better, as mosaics are more durable and do not deteriorate over time. These mosaics are so detailed that at first glance they appear to be paintings. The conservation of St. Peter's Basilica is an ongoing effort. The building requires constant maintenance due to its size, the number of visitors, and the effects of time. Restoration work is performed regularly, always with care, to preserve the building's historical and artistic integrity. Visiting St. Peter's Basilica is an experience that combines the spiritual, historical, artistic, and architectural. It is a place where you can feel the history of Christianity, appreciate some of the world's greatest artworks, and experience the grandeur of Baroque architecture. 8. Each visit reveals something new, every detail has meaning, and every space tells a story. Thank you for listening to this comprehensive audio guide about St. Peter's Basilica. We hope you have discovered the architectural, artistic, and spiritual secrets of this extraordinary place, and that this experience has deeply enriched your visit. St. Peter's Basilica is a place that deserves to be visited with time and attention, because every corner contains works of art, every detail has historical meaning, and every space offers a unique experience. Enjoy the rest of your stay in the Vatican, and remember that you have been in one of the world's most sacred and important Christian sites.